Hello, good morning. Hello,
Good morning, ma'am.
hello, good morning. Yes, let's start, no? Hmm? Last class we have completed this portion, isn't it? Huh? Huh? Do you remember? Because of the internet connection, suddenly we had stopped. Still, isn't it? Huh? Isn't it? Hmm? Right. Right. Let's move to the comprehensive income determination for the four-sector model. Right. This is the numerical example. Here, these are the information given to you. Right. The C is equal to, you know that normally the C is equal to A plus B by and I also given, G also given, T also given. T here GT is the transfers, right? And X is the export and M is the import. B is the coefficient of the consumption and T is the coefficient of tax. Here the consumption function directly indicated, right? That is 100 plus B into Y, T plus TY plus GT. As I mentioned already, here GT is the transfer payment, right? So these are the information given to you, and you are requested to derive the equilibrium level of income, also the foreign trade multiplier, right? Also, you can practice the consumption savings by changes of the government expenditure, transfer payment, import, export, everything you can practice, right? And we will move to the example. Here, these are the things given to you. What you are going to do, just you substitute the things in this equation, right? You know that the equilibrium equation for the four-sector model is y is equal to c plus g plus I plus x minus m, right? And directly consumption function is given. Also again you can directly substitute all the numbers in this particular equation, right? That is here. Here the c is given, the TR is there. TR is 50. No, yes, TR here GT as well as the TR is the transfer payment, right? So you have to remember that transfer payment also indicated by TR as well as the GT, government transfer. Right. Here, uh, once you substitute this information in this equation, you know that again the equilibrium level of equation is y is equal to c plus I plus g plus x minus m. Here the m is function, right? That means import is the function. Therefore, I put it in the bracket for the easy or to avoid the mistakes. And the C is already given to us that C is equal to 100 plus B, Y minus T minus TY. Or otherwise, you can put the T within the bracket T plus TY. Or you can apply this equation also because this equation already given to you, right? Therefore, don't worry about it. Directly you can use the equation. Otherwise, if you have any doubts or things, you can move by step, right? And and the balance I, G, X minus M. All the things are substitute here, right? Once you short this equation, right? I clear with this one. Huh? The beauty is people don't open their mouth. That's your beauty, isn't it? Huh? Here, the 100, the B is already given. Here, 0.8. So, 0.8, Y minus. Here, the things are given. We don't know why. We have to derive the Y. And here the what is 100, I is G is 100, T is 100, I is equal to 200, government transfers or GT is equal to 50, X 20, M is equal to 100 plus 0.1 Y, right? Those things are substituted here, right? Once you solve this equation, you can get this short form of the equation, and from the short form of the equation you can derive the equilibrium level of income, right? Anyhow, I'll give 5 minutes, right? These are the informations given to you. I'll give 5 minutes. Please do it. This is the comprehensive equation or derivation of the national income equilibrium, right? So please do it quickly. Do it quickly. Let's check whether your answer is correct or wrong. Quickly. What is the answer? Hello? What is the answer? Huh? What is the answer? Wait, what is the answer? Huh? No answer. From 117, 17? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Rifan? Hello? Hello, Rifan? He's not there, no? Huh? Nobody find the answer. Huh? Right. Then take the screenshot and practice. Right? Otherwise, huh? And also, this is another example for your practice. Right here. Suppose in an economy, the consumption function is given C is equal to 150 plus 0.755G. Investment spending I is equal to 100. Government spending G is equal to 150. Tax also here given as a function 20 plus 0.20Y. Transfer payment, that is TR, that is equal to 40. Export X is equal to 35. Imports the M, that is equal to 15 plus 0.1Y, that's also given as a function. Here you are requested to find the equilibrium level of income, consumption at equilibrium income, net exports at equilibrium level of income. Here net export is equal to X minus M, right? By how much the equilibrium income changes if investment increases by rupees 50 or 50 million rupees. Right here, the changes. Once the investment changes by 50, how much the equilibrium income will be changed. And the increase in the government spending, we got to ensure that the government reaches the full employment level of income, full employment level of income of 100 and 200. How much the government spending should increase to increase the national income at the full employment level of 1,200. Also with this one, the foreign trade multiplier. Also you are requested to derive the foreign trade multiplier, right? Foreign trade. multiplier, right? So these are the things under the national income determination. With this one, we can conclude this chapter, that is chapter 4, right? Again, under the chapter 4, we learn about that what is national income, what are the types of measures. So, commonly, there are three sectors, uh, two-sector model, three-sector model, as well as the four-sector model. Under the three-sector model, there is a simple model as well as the saving and investment models. Each and every model, we can derive the national income using uh, aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, as well as the saving and investment approach. Each and every sectors we can calculate. You have to practice. Right? Initial ideas are given to you. You have to practice those things. Also, especially under the three-sector model, we discussed around 5 models, sub-models, right? The first one is the government expenses. Then with the government expenses, taxes. Then for the extension of the second model, we add the uh, transfers with the government expenses as well as the taxes. Also, again, we extended the model tax as a function with the transfer payment as well as the government expenditure. Uh, those things we learn under the three-sector model. Also, we calculated the savings, consumption at the equilibrium level of income, and also we discussed the uh, balance of payment deficit as well as the uh, surplus. Normally, the balance of payment deficit is calculated using this equation, that is income minus expenditure, right? Income are the taxes, expenses, the expenditures are the government expenses. Once we subscribe the expenses from the income, that once it is positive, it's called deficit, right? And also, finally, we discuss the four-sector model. Four-sector model also we have. Under the three-sector model, we derive the three multipliers as well: lump sum tax multiplier, government expenditure multiplier, and also the balance budget multiplier. Always balance budget multiplier is equal to 1. The balance budget multiplier also we derived in the 3 methods, right? And finally, we discussed the um, four-sector model. Under the four-sector model, also the four-sector model explain the import and as well as the export with the previous models. Here, the export also one import. We can divide into lump sum import as well as the import as a function. From this export import function as well as the import, we can also derive the multipliers as well, right? And finally, we discuss the comprehensive model of the national income determination. The comprehensive model explain the consumption, tax as a function, transfer payment, government expenses, investment, uh, uh, export as well as the import. Here also, under the comprehensive model, import is considered as function of the function, right? Using this information, we can calculate the national income, short form of the national income, consumption as well as the saving of the national saving at the equilibrium level of national income. Also, we can calculate the changes once there is changes in the government expenditure or investment or changes in the tax function, changes in the uh, import, changes in the export, everything, right? But once there is changes in each and every component, that also will change the national income. So that things also we learn. And also the foreign trade multiplier. We can calculate the trade multipliers for each and every models of the sectors. And also we can calculate the, for the here the this example e part here I e part put e, but this is f part. Here you have to use the strategies. Strategies mean that we calculated the multipliers. Using the multipliers, you have to find the answer to this question, right? With this one, we can finish this chapter. Again, last year as well as the before last year, because of the Zoom classes, like June, right? Those people, some but open their mouth, but you never open your mouth, right? I don't know what you are going to do. Anyhow, you practice these examples, questions, and everything again and again, right? You have to practice. Once you practice, you can get the ideas and get the good marks in your final examination. Therefore, again and again, you have to practice these things. Right, now we will move to the other chapter. Wait, I share. Right. The next chapter is consumption function. Right. The next chapter is consumption function. Right. Under this chapter, we are going to discuss about the Keynesian absolute income hypothesis for short-run consumption function, Duchenberry relative income hypothesis, and also and Modigliani's theory of life cycle income hypothesis. These things we are going to. And also, you have to keep it in your mind. These are the things we are going to learn. And identify the factors which determine the consumption. And also, finally, you can plan the appropriate way for spending and saving throughout the life. That once you get the income during your income earning time. And first, we will move to the aggregate consumption function. I think you have some idea about the consumption function in our previous lectures. With the continuation of the consumption function, we are uh, uh, yes continuing here as well. Right here, you know that the most general consumption function is C is equal to function of y. That means Y is determined the consumption. Again, that means once the income increases, consumption also increases. You can realize that also, right? And here the Y indicates the disposable income. Also, you know that what is disposable income? Disposable income means Y minus T, right? That's the balance after paying the taxes is the disposable income. Here, however, consumption function is explained using the concept of marginal propensity to consumption, MPC. MPC also we discussed very deeply and clearly, I think, right? That is the balance part is your one, right? You have to practice, you have to read, you have to listen. If you have any doubt, you have to ask. Otherwise, I don't know what you are going to do. And here again, the MPC, the marginal propensity consumption, refers to the relationship between marginal income and the marginal consumption. Also, we can derive the MPC dividing delta C by delta Y. Right? Normally, the MPC is equal to, or MPC lies between 0 to 1. Also, therefore, the consumption function is equal to A plus BY. That's also already we discussed. Here C is the consumption expenditure and A is the autonomous consumption. Again, that autonomous consumption means consumption at the zero level income. Here we can call the MPC is the slope of the consumption curve, that is P. Again, that B lies between 0 to 1. And this is the derivation for the MPC. Right here, this one also we already learned. The C is equal to A plus BY. Here, once there is changes in the income, that causes to changes the consumption as well. Therefore, once we take to derive the MPC, we have to rearrange this equation. That means we have to take the C to the other side. Once we take the C to the other side, right here, this is the minus C and A plus BY is the C. The minus C and plus C vanished, and the balance is B delta Y. Therefore, delta C is equal to B into delta Y. Once we arrange or take the delta Y to the at the side of the equation, we can get, right. Therefore, B is equal to delta C divided by delta Y. Again, this is the MPC. And this is the numerical example of how to derive the MPC. Here, delta C is given 150 and delta Y is given 200. Using this information, you can derive the MPC that is equal to 0.75. The meaning of the 0.75 is once the income increases by 1 rupee, the consumption will increase by 0.75 rupees, so 0.75 cents, right? And this is the graphical presentation for the marginal propensity to consumption. That is here again. Once we join this equation, this indicates the A or the autonomous consumption. So autonomous consumption means there is no income, but some consumptions are there. And this is the consumption function. This is changes of the delta y, and this is delta C. Once we divided the delta C by delta y, we can get the marginal propensity to consumption. All right. And the aggregate APC, aggregate propensity to consumption. Here, this aggregate propensity to consumption is equal to C divided by Y. This one also we already discussed, right, under the concept of the national income determination. Right, here also, once we have the consumption function is equal to C plus C is equal to A plus BY, the APC is equal to C divided by Y. Here C is indicated as A plus BY. Right, again, once the consumption function is given as, that is C is equal to BY, if there is no autonomous consumption, that APC is equal to MPC. Right, this is the consumption schedule. Here, this schedule indicated once the income increases, consumption also increases. You can observe here, once there is zero income, the consumption is there. This consumption, but how do we call this 20? Anybody? What is the name of this 20? What is the name of this 20? Huh? What is the name of this 20? Huh?
Autonomous consumption.
Autonomous consumption. Very good. Autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption means the consumption at the zero level income. Here the income is zero. Here you can observe the income increases from 60, 120, 80, 180 and 240. Here consumption also increases. Therefore, there is a positive relationship between consumption and income. Again, the income is determined the consumption as well, right? And let's move to this is the basic introduction or basic ideas about the consumption function. Here there are so many consumption functions are there. The first one is the Keynesian absolute income hypothesis, the short-run consumption function. Leaves and varies relative income hypothesis, flip and permanent income hypothesis, and Modigliani theories of life cycle consumption. Then Horst random walk theory of consumption, and also micro foundation theory of consumption. There are so many consumption functions are there. Here we are concentrate only three Keynesian, Duchenberry as well as the Modigliani. Once you have an idea to continue your higher studies, you can go for other theories of the consumption. But here we are only concentrate only three. You have to be careful with that one, right? And the other one is the properties of the consumption function. The first one is the average propensity to consumption. We know that average propensity to consumption. Average propensity to consumption means the ratio of consumption expenditure to any particular level of the income, the average income of the consumption. Also, this is expressed as percentage or proportion of income consumed that is equal to that is APC is equal to C divided by Y. Also here the APC declines as income increases. Right? Once the income increases, APC declines because the proportion of income spent on consumption decreases. Here the you can observe. I go to this right here. Here, this is the schedule. Here, what it explained that what is the property of the consumption function? That is the important one is the APC, the average propensity to consumption. What is average propensity to consumption? Explain the average income spent on the consumption purposes. Also, here we know the APC is equal to C divided by Y. Once the income increases, the one of the properties, once the income increases, the average propensity to consumption also decreases because they spend less income, uh, uh, less income for the consumption purposes when the income increases. You can observe here. Here the first, the zero, once the income increases, the consumption also increases from 20 to 70, that is 50. Then income increases 60 to 120, the double. Here, the how much the income, sorry, consumption increases? How much? Huh? How much income increase? Sorry, consumption increases. Here, the changes of the income is equal to 60. But here, only 50. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Yes. Again, here income increases by 60, but here consumption increases only by 50. So the whole income not is spent on the consumption purposes, right? That is the reason here the APC declines and income increases because the proportion of income spent on the decreases. The whole income never increases. Therefore, here APS that is equal to 1 minus APC also, right? And the marginal propensity, regarding the marginal propensity to consumption, we know that one also. It's defined the ratio of the change in consumption to the change in income, right? This is the APC is the average, MPC is the changes, right? Once you have question differentiate between APC and MPC, you have to explain very carefully based on the marks as well as the question, right? Here the MPC is equal to delta C divided by delta Y. Again, this MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC. These things already will, the MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Therefore, once we subscript the MPC from MPS or MPS, the MPS, we can get the balanced one. And also significance of MPC over a long period, APC and MPC are equal and approximate 0.9, right? Not in the short run, but in the short run, the speciality or significance, what is significant? The APC as well as the MPC are equal. Also, the value of the APC and MPC is 0.9. Here, the MPC is assumed to be positive, right, and less than unity. Therefore, always MPC is positive, also less than unity. Therefore, the value of the MPC lies between 0 to 1, which means the consumption is an increasing function of income and it increases by less than increase of income, right? You can observe the schedule, right? The income increases, consumption also increases, but the changes of the increase will be consumption as well as the income are different, right? Once the income increases, consumption also increases, but the consumption increases less than income increases. Am I correct? Huh? Are you clear? Huh? Are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Yes. Here, 120, 180, but 120, 170, 140, here 170 to 120. Right? The differences are less than the difference or difference of the consumption is less than difference from the income, right? That means once the income increases, consumption also increases, but consumption increases less than income increases. Here, the economic significance of the MPC lies in filling the gap between income and consumption through planned investment to maintain the desired level of income, right? Also, another significance of the MPC, that is filling through planned investment to maintain the desired income based on the MPC as well as the uh, MPC adjusting the consumption as well as the income by planned investment. Right, once the investment increases, consumption income also increases. Once income increases, consumption also increases. So this gap is filled by the planned economy to maintain the national or full employment level of income. Now we will move to the theories, various theories of the consumption function. The first one is the Keynesian theory of consumption. That is called the absolute in consumption function, absolute consumption function. Here, this Keynesian theory of consumption or the absolute consumption function is explained or based on the fundamental psychological law, right? What is fundamental psychological law? Fundamental psychological law explain that men are disposed, right, to increase their consumption as their income increases. That means once the income increases, consumption also increases. But not by as much as the increase in income. What does that mean? What does that mean? This is the Keynesian theory is the basis for the consumption function. Right? Previously, we discussed the APC and MPC. Here, Keynesian also discussed the MPC as well as the APC. That concept are coming from the Keynesian theory of consumption. Right here, the Keynesian theory of consumption also explained based on the psychological law. Normally, in a practical way, also the consumption function is explained this one psychological law. Right? That means when the income increases, consumption also increases, but not by whole income increases. Right? That is the psychological law, as well as this grit also explain that one. Here, income increases, consumption also increases, but not here. Income increased by 60, but here consumption increased only 50. There are some balance portion, right? I will come to later that one. Here again, the uh, changes of the income as well as the consumption, uh, or the changes of the consumption divided by delta one. Changes of the income is positive, that is MPC, or that is B, as well as that is less than unity. Right? Because of that, increase income as well as the consumption or changes of the consumption. Current consumption expenditure depend on the current and absolute level of income. Further, the consumption expenditure depend on the income. If it is current income determine the current expenditure. Also, if it is past income determine the past expenditure. Therefore, we call C is equal to function of Y. Right here, we may indicate C is the current consumption as well as Y is the current income. And the Keynes psychological law of consumption further explain that men are disposed as a rule and on the average to increase their consumption as their income increases, but not by as much as the increase in their income. Again, this is the psychological law. Again, it is explained but when the income increases, consumption also increases, but less than income. The consumption increases, less than income increases. Right? Here there are three related proportions. The first one is when income increases, consumption expenditure also increases, but by the smaller amount. That is to understood. Thus, it increases less than proportionate. Right? That means again, once the income increases by 60, consumption increases only 50 or less than 60. The second thing is the increased income will be divided in some proportion between consumption expenditure and saving. Here, the consumption income increases by 60, the consumption increases only 50, right? The 10 is there from the income. So the income divided for saving as well. Therefore, increased income divided for consumption as well as savings. The third one is increase in income always leads to increase in both consumption and saving. Once the income increase further, consumption will increase. Also, saving increases, right? Here you can observe clearly this table to uh, explain the three portions or three um, pro- yes, proportions related with the Keynesian psychological law. Right? You can observe here. Is it clear? Huh? Is this diagram table clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Here you can clearly observe that three proportions. Right here, the here the income is equal to zero. That's consumption. Right? We call this one autonomous consumption. How they are, how they spend for their consumption. They are using their past saving. Because of that, here saving is minus. They are utilizing their saving for this period or for the income zero. Right? Therefore, here income consumptions are there, but there is no saving. Saving means they are utilizing their previous saving. And then the income increases from 0 to 60. Here the consumption increases from 20 to 70, right? 50. Anyhow, that is not enough. The increasing income is not enough. Therefore, they are using their past saving as well. And here again, income increases from 60 to 120. Their consumption also increases from 70 to 120. In this stage, their income is enough to manage their consumption. Right? This point indicate their income is enough to manage their consumption. Therefore, there is no savings. The whole income is utilized for the consumption purposes. And then the income is increased further. Right? The income is increased further. Therefore, we know that C is equal to function of Y. That means once the income increases, the consumption also increases. Therefore, they increase their consumption as well. Once the when the income increases from 120 to 180, they also increase their consumption 120 to 170, right? Here, the income increases by 60, consumption increases how much? 50, right? The 10 balance goes as saving, right? Therefore, they are saving some portion from their income. Again, you can concentrate here. Once the income increases, their consumption also increases, but not for income. Or the less increase in consumption rather than income. Right? And again, further, the income increase from 180 to 240, right? 240. Consumption also increases from 170 to 220. How much? Huh? Here, 100, yes, 60. The income is increases by 60. Consumption increases by how much? Huh? How much?
50, ma'am.
50. 50. But 100 here, 60, no? 100 and 200 and wait 240 minus 180. 60 here 220 minus 170. 50. Then 20 is not possible, no? Huh? So 210, no? Is it correct? Hmm? Huh? Correct or wrong? Huh? Huh? Here the uh, right income increases by 60, isn't it? Am I correct? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Consumption also increases by 40, right? What is correct, no? And saving also the 40, 60 minus 40, 20 goes as saving, right? Again, the income increases by 100 and by 60, and here 30, 40, right? 40, here 30, right? 30 plus 30, 60. Is it okay? Huh? 64. Have you understood? Huh? Is it clear? Huh? Is it clear? Huh? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Here again, please listen. Please listen. There are three proportions. These three proportions are going to explain using that schedule. Right. The first one is when income increases, consumption expenditure also increases, but by a smaller amount. That means less than proportionality. Again, that means not equal to income. Right? First one. The second one is increased income will be divided in some proportion between consumption expenditure as well as the saving. Right? Once the income increases, people allocate for some as well. Can you hear me? Hello? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Right. And the third one is once the income increases further, consumption as well as the saving will increase. Right? I clear with these three proportions? Huh? I clear with these three proportions?
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What about others? Okay. Okay. These three proportions are going to explain by this schedule. Right? Here you can observe when the income increases, consumption also increases. Isn't it? Huh? Huh? 20, 70, 120, 170, 210, 40. Likewise, the consumptions also increases. The first one. The second one is when the income increases, people allocate their increased income for consumption as well as the savings. Right? That is explained by this consumption as well as the saving. The third one is when the income increases further, they increase their saving as well. Right? Here, 60, the increased income is 60. Right? Here, 50 plus 10, 60. Again, 60. Here, 40 plus 20, 60. Here, again, 60. Here, 30 plus 30, 60. Am I correct? Huh? Have you understood? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Also, if you have any question like this, right? Briefly explain the Keynesian psychological law of consumption. What is the Keynesian psychological? Using appropriate example. What is consumption law? Psychological law? Huh? Men are disposed their increased income on their consumption, but not whole income. It's a psychological law. And also the psychological law has three proportions. The one is when the income increases, consumption increase. Increased income divided for consumption as well as the savings. Also, once the income increases, consumption as well as saving increases. Right? The whole thing explain this diagram as well as the previous example. Right. To explain this psychological law as well, there are some assumptions. Right. The one is the constant psychological and institutional complex. Right. Constant psychological and institutional complex. Income distribution. There is no any other deviation between the distribution. Taste, the same taste. Habits, social customs, price movements, population growth, etc. remain constant and consumption depends on income. These are constant, only income determine the consumption. Here we assume. Once there is changes in the taste, habit, social custom, institutional complex, price movement, economic growth, that will change the consumption. But here we assume there's no changes in this component. And the second assumption is it's assumed the existence of normal conditions, right? Like now we are experiencing, right? We are experiencing the economic crisis, COVID, right? Because of the COVID, we faced many difficulties. Likewise, due to the economic crisis, we are facing many difficulties, right? Therefore, there is changes in the supply, changes in the price level, and everything are going on. But here, to explain this psychological law as well as the Keynesian theory of absolute one, we assume there is normal situation, right? The law does not operate in abnormal conditions like war, revolution, or hyperinflation. Right now, we are experiencing the hyperinflation. And it assumes the extent of laissez-faire capitalist economist and is inoperative in case of socialist economist. Right? That means laissez-faire capitalist means there is maximum production, right? And they are operating in the social case of social. Based on this assumption, also this Keynesian psychological theory of consumption. And another one is the properties of the Keynesian theory of consumption. Right? What are the properties? The real income expenditure, that means consumption divided by P is a positive function of the real current disposable income. Right? That means consumption is the function of income, particularly in the short run. Therefore, the MPC lies between 0 to 1, right? And MPC is less than the average propensity to consumption also. That means APC is less than MPC, right? Sorry, MPC is less than. MPC, average propensity consumption is higher than the marginal propensity to consumption. And the MPC declines as income increases. That is, the proportion of marginal income consumed goes on decreasing. Right? That means once the here you can calculate the marginal propensity to consumption. Right? Here delta C is equal to how much? 120, 170. Delta C is equal to 50, no? Divided by 60, that is equal to 0.8. Is it correct? Is it correct? Is it correct? Huh? Marginal propensity to consumption for the set of information 120 to 180, 120 to 170. How much? You are not interested, no? To learn? Huh? Then you blame to others. She is not teaching properly. She is not. Huh? Isn't it? This is the attitude. Huh? What is the margin? MPC. What is the MPC for 120, 180 income, 120 and 170 consumption?
0.8,
Huh?
ma'am.
0.8. You have to have the calculator for the macroeconomics. Huh? Now you calculate the MPC for the set of 180 to 160, 170 to 210. How much? How much?
0.6,
How
ma'am.
much? 0.6. What is explained here? Huh? When MPC declines as income increases. We proved. No? Huh? When the income increases, 100, yes, 100 to 0.8. For the other set, 180, 170, no? For that one, 0.6. That is the proportion of marginal income which goes on decreasing. Right? This is the justification. When the income increases, consumption also increases. Right? This also explained by this diagram as well. Keynesian absolute income hypothesis. Here you can simply observe here. This is the consumption curve. This 45 explained consumption is always equal to income, right? And there are three set of income as well as the consumption. The point B, income is equal to 10 and consumption is equal to 10. Then income increases from 10 to 50. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Again, it started the internet problem. Right. Here, the according to this consumption function, there is no possibilities when income is equal to uh, when income when zero income, that is equal to zero consumption, right? Because that's also explained by this consumption function. Though there is income is equal to zero, there is consumption. Therefore, zero income uh, not indicate the zero consumption. That is not realistic. But decrease in MPC, that means when the income increases, the MPC will decrease. That's also we can derive here, right? Here, the, in the first point B, the income is equal to 10 and consumption is also equal to 10. B2 D, the consumption is 3, the changes of consumption is 3 and changes of income is 5. So the MPC is equal to 0.6. Is it correct? Is it correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Income increases from 15 to 20. Consumption also increases from 13 to 50. Therefore, changes the consumption is equal to 2 divided by 5, that is equal to 0.6. Right? Again, you can conclude once the income increases, consumption also increase, but MPC will decrease. Right? Again, if there is any questions, when the MPC will decrease with the increase in income. Explain using the diagram, appropriate diagram as well as the example. You have to ready to explain. And again, the Keynesian consumption, normally the Keynesian consumption function is via learning. Right. Keynesian, our normal consumption function is the Keynesian. We are following the Keynesian consumption function. The Keynesian consumption function is the C is equal to A plus B by D. Here A is the disposable income. E is the consumption function. A is the autonomous consumption or the consumption at the zero level income. C is the consumption, right? And the next part is the determinants of the consumption function. There are two types of determinants, subjective factors. That subjective factors means endogenous or internal to the economic system, endogenous factors, or subjective factors, or internal to the economic system. The first one is the psychological factors which affect the willingness to buy goods. Psychological factors. Some of the goods are not better. However, we feel to buy, right? So we are increasing the consumption. Advertisements, you know that normally once you open the social media, there are so many advertisements. What is the reason? To increase their business. The individuals are increase their consumption. And attractiveness of products, right? Expectation of the price level. Once there is announcement, the price of the petrol will increase from midnight. You can observe there's a huge line in the petrol station. People are thinking only one tank petrol is enough for life, isn't it? Because of that, they are hurry up to fill their tank. And availability of goods. If there is enough goods, there is no higher consumption. Income. We learned that income is the main determinant of the consumption. The next one is the objective factors. The objective factors are the wealth, consumer installment credit. Installment credit means nowadays, not nowadays, before the COVID, there is the financial institutions come forward to lease the vehicles in a installment basis. Therefore, all the people with the vehicles also accidents also increase number of accidents. Right? So that facilities, installment facilities are available for consumption in income distribution. If there is equal income distribution, they get that causes to increase. Unequal distribution, the poor people or less income people, they reduce their consumption. Changes in wage level, once the wages increases, people purchase more goods and services. Windfall gains and losses. Sometimes the sudden profits increase, sometimes losses. If there is gains, the people have enough income, therefore they increase their consumption. On the other hand, if there is losses, they reduce their consumption. And the next one is the changes in fiscal policy. What is fiscal policy? That is implemented by the government to adjust the macroeconomic variables. They can adjust or implement their fiscal policy by applying tax policies as well as the government expenditure policies. Once there is more income, once the government feel the money supply is higher in the economy, they impose the taxes like now, progressive taxes. Once there is progressive taxes, the people, the disposable income, we know the disposable income YT is equal to Y minus T. Once the tax payment is high, the disposable income will reduce, goes down. Therefore, the people reduce their or limit their consumption. On the other hand, another fiscal policy, once the government feel the low income people are suffering from the economic crisis, the government provide assistance, government expenses to the people. Once they receive the government expenses, their income will increase. Once the income increases, they increase their consumption as well. And finance institution. Therefore, there is less credit creation within the bank. Also, the people don't have interest to get the loan from the banks. Therefore, they have less income. credit creation is not there or less credit creation. So reduce their consumption as well. And the financial policies of the corporations. If there is flexible financial policies that causes to increase. On the other hand, if the financial policies are tight, right, that causes to reduce the income and they reduce their consumption as well. Finally, the attitude towards saving. If they feel the interest rate is high, right, they turn their consumption money towards the saving. Then the consumption will be reduced. Sometimes under the psychological law, we learn when the income increases, people don't spend all income on the consumption purposes. That means they save their money for the future, uh, future as well, and they save their money in the financial security uh, when they have planned to utilize that money during the unemployed people or after retirement. Also the illness, death of their breadwinner or investment to enhance their future income. This is the purpose of the saving, right? The psychological law explain once the income increases, their consumption also saves. So what is the purpose of their savings? They have these uh, purposes to save their money. And the second theory of the consumption function is the relative income hypothesis. This relative income hypothesis is explained by the Berry in 1940s. This also explained the relative income theory of consumption or the relative income hypothesis. This relative income hypothesis explains the consumption of a household with the income and expenditure level of households of the comparable income groups. This is the beauty of this theory, right? Or hypothesis. Right? Relative income hypothesis links the consumption of a household with the income and expenditure with the households of comparable income groups. They are compared with the other groups who are living in the same areas. That means again, households having relatively lower income and living in the community of higher income tend to spend a higher proportion of their income than the household with higher incomes. Right? Have you understood? Have you understood? Huh? Have you understood? Anybody? Hmm? Have you any idea about this theory? Hmm? Again, listen. Household having relative lower income people, right? And living in the community of higher incomes. Lower income people are living in the living with the higher income group of people. Tend to spend a higher proportion of their income than the households with higher income. Right? The people, the lower income people who are living with the higher income from their income They are spending more for the consumption purpose from their income than the household with the higher income. Hello, Lira. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Can you understand? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. The people, the poor people, they are living with among the higher income community. They are spending higher proportion of their income compared with the higher income groups. This is called demonstration effect, right? Relative income hypothesis. Again, it is called demonstration effect. They don't have enough money, but they are behaving the higher income people, like higher income people, right? This is the demonstration effect. Right. This is explained. That is the relative hypothesis have some proportion that is explained. Listen very carefully. If income of all household belonging to the group increases, right? If income of all household belonging to the group increases, then the consumption of all the households of groups goes up at the same rate and vice versa. Once the first one is the once all people in were also increases. Therefore, MPC remains the same for all households if their income changes by the same amount, right? The MPC is same for all who are rich, and also uh, when that is same, the proportion of the changes is same. The next one is there. If household X remain at the same scale, X, not 4, of relative income and its absolute income rises, then its absolute consumption and saving rise. Once the X households absolute income increases, their consumption as well as the income increases, like the psychological or Keynesian one. But delta C divided by delta Y, that is MPC, remains the same as it was before the rise in its income. However, the MPC also same compared with the earlier one, right? And the third one, this is the individual one, or X individual. Is if the X remains on the same scale of the relative income with income constant, there is that means that income there is no changes in the income. The income of other household of the group increases, right? Here, the X household income is same, not changes. But other group income increases. Then the MPC of the household X with constant income increases. Their MPC is constant, right? Other income groups income increases. The next one is if household X moves up from the lower income group to higher income group, then its MPC decreases lower to higher. That is obvious, no? This is also explained by the Keynesian one. Right? Once the income increases, MPC will reduces or decreases, right? This support with the uh, Keynesian hypothesis as well. So these are the properties of the relative income hypothesis. Right. Here again, both absolute and relative income hypothesis have a similar view that when absolute disposable income of the household increases, their relative income remains the same. Then consumption increases such that household average propensity to consumption remain constant and is equal to marginal propensity. Some places, the Keynesian absolute income hypothesis as well as the Keynesian absolute income hypothesis explain the similar view of the relative income hypothesis. That means once the absolute income increases, right, their relative income remains, consumption increase. Right, at that time, the APC is constant. Also, that is equal to MPC. Right? Have you understood? Huh? Absolute income hypothesis as well as the relative income hypothesis explain the same. That means absolute income increases, right? And their absolute income increases, but their relative income is constant. However, their consumption also increases. In that cases, right, the APC is equal to constant, but that is equal to MPC as well. Right? This is the theory you can check. However, relative income hypothesis deviates from the absolute income hypothesis of the question as to what happens when household income increases. Once there is the similar view is there, though there are similar views, here the relative income hypothesis explain that absolute income increases, from absolute income hypothesis on the question to what happens when household income increases, right? Absolute income, the relative income hypothesis deviates from explaining how household income decreases when the absolute income hypothesis increase or changes. And while absolute income hypothesis hold that consumption decreases in proportion to decrease in income, the relative income hypothesis holds that consumption does not decrease in proportion to decrease in income because of tuition budget effect or the demonstration effect. Right here, further you can clearly understand. Once here the absolute income explains, once the absolute income increases, consumption also increases. On the other hand, absolute income decreases, consumption also decreases. But under the relative income hypothesis, relative income, once the relative income decreases, right, consumption will not decrease. Is that? Right. Huh? Have you understood this one? When absolute income increases, consumption will increase according to the psychological law of Keynesian absolute income hypothesis. Right? On the other hand, once the absolute income decreases, consumption also decreases. That means consumption is determined by the income. But under the Duchenberry demonstration effect or the relative income hypothesis, once there is decreases in the relative income, the consumption does not decrease, right? That is the demonstration effect. The people don't like to reduce their consumption, though there is income decreases. For an example, nowadays, the people nowadays there is deficit in anchor in the market, but some of the people are addicted or prefer the anchor milk powder. Whether the income decreased and the milk powder price of the milk powder increased, they never reduce the consumption of the anchor milk powder. Right? That is explained here. That is the ratchet effect also. Right? That is the ratchet effect also. Right? We can learn the ratchet effect very clearly. Right? Until now, you are very clear with what is demonstration effect of the Duchenberry. Duchenberry explained once the people, people who live, the poor people who live with the higher income people tend to higher consumption rather than the high income people. Right? That is demonstration effect. Also, when the absolute income increases, consumption also increase. On the other hand, absolute income decreases, consumption also decreases. But under the relative income hypothesis, once the relative income decreases, they never decreases their consumption. That is called the demonstration effect as well as the ratchet effect. Right? In the next class, we will learn the ratchet effect very deeply with the examples and diagrams as well. Right? Okay? Huh?
Okay, ma'am.